up high, and the dreams that you dream of once in a lullaby. Oh, somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly. Dreams that you dream of, dreams really do come true.
I first met Summer at BYU, Idaho, and it was at I-Night. And I see this cute girl, and she just has people talking with her, and like multiple guys were trying to talk to her, and I was like, I'm not gonna come off as the desperate return missionary. But I ended up talking with her kind of once during the night, and then we started playing a game. I think it was missionary tag of all things. We're running around. Did you bump into me or did I bump into you?
Bumped into you.
She bumps into me and I'm like, yeah. She came to say hey.
Well, when I first ran into him, I thought he was super sweet. He was very nice and just friendly, and so I was like, oh, he's really cool. I want to be good friends with him.
So I went to talk to her to invite her to come to another game that we were playing, and we ended up walking home together that night, and we all lived in the same apartment complex, and I totally creeped her out because I walked her home, but we lived in the same apartment complex, so like what was I supposed to
didn't
think?
really know. Or the record.
I actually got her number over Facebook chat. I looked her up on Facebook and I was messaging her because everybody has to Facebook stalk the person that they're like kind of interested in. And then I was like, well, you know, we don't always have Wi-Fi. Do you think I could get your number? And she shoots me her number over the Facebook chat, and it's totally a number that doesn't work.
It actually like double typed it.
She accidentally double typed it, and then the second time she sent it to me, it had a typo in it, and so every time I tried to text her, it wouldn't work, and I was like, wow, she really wants to get rid of me. So I'm like,
pure accident, promise.
I was like, hey, your number totally isn't working again. I know I'm coming off as the desperate guy, but she's like, okay, here's my number for reals. I'm so sorry. And so then I send her a text. She sends me one back, and I was like, Houston, we've made contact.
First date we went on was a group date with like all of his roommate buddies, and we were sitting there and we were playing cards just in a circle and having like ice cream and brownies, just good old time.
The first time we held hands, it was actually pretty cold. And so her hands got cold, and I was like, are your hands cold? She's like, yeah. And I was like, all right, all or nothing. I just go for it, and I basically grab her hand. And she just looks down at it, looks at me, smiles, looks back, and I'm like, whoa.
That was our first kiss. I don't remember the exact date, to be honest. I remember we were walking through the gardens and we decided we were just gonna sit down and stop and talk for a little bit. And so I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. And by like this little lamp, and we're just sitting there and we're talking. And I remember I had like just told him how I couldn't stand how people touch my face. Like I don't like when people touch my face. And he like, well, what if I did this? And he like go and just grabs my face and just very softly just kissed me. It was literally probably the perfect first kiss, and
I'll tell this one.
Yeah, go for
So
it.
when we first told each other we loved each other was, we had started dating October 17th. I had really strong feelings for her, and so in Tagalog, I told her I loved her, and she had no idea what it actually meant. And I would like text her goodnight and say, goodnight, mahal kita. And she's like, what does that mean? I was like, it doesn't matter. And so, you know, she didn't worry about it.
Like finally 2 weeks later, he's like, oh yeah, it means I love you. And I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Remember when I like actually first told you I loved you in English, but I remember it was just like something totally just in passing. It was just like,
Yeah, it was.
I love you.
I think the first time I said I love you was actually over a text on Halloween night.
Screenshotted that text. Well, I asked her to date me exclusively. Like after we had a great date and we kissed goodnight, and I was like, so I really want to date you. I want you to be my girlfriend. She's like, okay, can I have a night to think about it? And I'm like, yeah, okay, that's just fine. And then the night turned into a day, and then another day, and then 3 days has passed, and I'm like, do you want to tell me the answer? She's like, no, not yet. I'm like, 4 days, 5 days. 6th day comes along. She told me what had been going on, and she already had the entire next week. Every day she had a date with a different guy. Whether it was a dude from family home evening, whether it was a guy from her math class.
The creepy stalker guy. But I would go on the date, and then I would tell them I needed to come home early and do homework, which was true. I would come home and finish one problem that I accidentally left. And then I would be like, Wesley, do you want to go on a date? Like, do you want to go hang out tonight? And so we would go on and hang out every single night that week. And then we got to the end of the week, and it was my turn to plan the date. So I was like, we have to go hiking on our mountain. Like,
It's like the Y mountain in Provo, but
Yeah.
the R for Rexburg.
we went hiking up the mountain. We finally get to the top of the mountain. We're sitting there. We're just sitting on top of the rock. And he's like, "So, are you gonna tell me your answer?"
I could not take waiting anymore. She's like, "Yes, I'll be your girlfriend." I'm like, "Yeah!"
We'll build this love from the ground up. Now till forever, it's all of me, all of you. Just take my hand, and I'll be the man your dad hoped that I'd be. And we'll build this love from the ground up, for worse or for better. And I will be all you need. Beside you I'll stand, through the good and the bad. We'll give all that we have, and we'll build this love from the ground up.
Once I knew that I loved Summer and I wanted Summer and I to be together, it was interesting. It was like the lights turned off on everybody else. It was just the only thing that mattered was Summer and being in my life, and I wanted to make sure that she was happy and that I wanted her to know that I loved her. And I do. And so I fly out to North Carolina, and it was the day after her birthday. Couldn't do anything special for her on her birthday, and so her mom decides, like, I'll kidnap her so that this can happen. I'm like, excellent. And so she goes to get kidnapped, and then she leaves, and so timer starts, 15 minutes and counting. To get to the beach, we have to run over some dunes. I've got this dresser full of stuff because I didn't bring a box to carry it in. I just packed it all in my suitcase, the glasses, the candles, the bottle. Courtney and Taylor, they're there watching me set it up, and I set it up, and they're like, all right, it's time, you gotta go back. And I'm like, boom, 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 boom. I'm like, oh no, it's time. And so I run back, and I left Courtney and Taylor and Dylan in charge of watching it so that nobody would mess with it. And so I run back, and Summer's there, and Summer says, hey, I have a surprise for you. I'm like, oh, that's funny. So do I. And she's like, well, where's everybody else? I was like, well, they went down for a walk on the beach. We should go on a walk and try and find them. And I realized the dune I had hid everything behind was gone. It had blown away. It was so windy, and Summer's gonna see it. And so she goes to turn to see it, and I just spin dance move her around. And she's like, oh. I'm like, I go to walk her over to it, and this man walks over to it. Right at the moment we were gonna go for it. And he's just looking at it, he picks up the bottle, and the whole time she's facing me, and I'm facing it, and just going, I'm freaking out. I'm like, please, of all things, like, I'm just giving her a hug, like, but obviously from in front, and she's looking over my shoulder, and I am motioning to her brother, Dylan, chase him away. So Dylan, like, runs down and goes, sir, points right at us. He's about to propose to my sister right now. Can you please leave? And he's like, oh yeah, sure, I'll get out of here, sorry. So instead, he invites his 2 daughters, both under the age of 4, to come check it out and come open the bottle. And so Dylan has to charge out again, and during my head, I'm just like totally putting on the pleasant face for Summer, just giving her a kiss every once in a while, spinning her around, not letting her see. And I'm just like, stall, stall, and finally, he starts walking off, and I'm like, okay. We walk over to it, and I write it off as a birthday surprise.
So we were trying to get the letter open, and we finally got out of the bottle, and I was just about to start reading. So of course I read the first paragraph, and at the end of it, it said like something like, I hope you know how much I love you now, or after this you'll know how much I love you.
She had no idea the ring was in my pocket. I pulled it out, and at that point I had it in my hand. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, and I'm just like shaking.
At that point I was like super suspicious. I was like, surely not, this is not no birthday surprise thing, like, oh my goodness, this is like, and so of course I keep reading, and at the middle of the page, like in one of the paragraphs, it's like, don't worry about what I'm doing behind you, like, just keep reading, don't worry about it. And so I'm like, I totally like glance over, and I'm like, I can see him moving behind me, and then like getting closer to the bottom of the page, I can see that he's like getting down on one knee, and I'm like, I don't even know what the last 3 paragraphs said because like, just freaking out. And at the end of it, it was like, slowly turn around. And so I turn around, and she's like,
so I get down on one knee, she slowly starts to turn around, I open the box, and I start asking her if she would marry me.
And so he's down on one knee, and rumor has it I didn't let him finish before I gave him my answer.
And before I even finished it, she's like, absolutely yes, and she gives me a big hug.
When he asked me, like, Summer Thomas, I promise to always love and cherish you, like, will you marry? But I don't think he really got to finish, and I was just like, absolutely yes, and like right and gave him a hug, like
tackled me.
tackled him. Of course, he puts the ring on my finger, and next thing I know, I hear cheering, and my mom was watching, and then my siblings were over hiding, watching secretly, and so I was just like, oh, this is awesome, like, this is perfect, and it was, it was perfect. Everything, nailed it.
And then, no joke, a rainbow appears over the ocean, and then people on horseback come crossing by.
You and I, in the spell of the night, the butterflies, they dream just to feel what we've seen, to be lost in the beauty of love.
So some of the talents that Summer has is, I'll say anything sporty. If it's outside and it's athletic, like, she can do it. Her dedication to her studies is inspiring, so she helps me be better. She's always modest. She knows who she is.
Talents and qualities, fly fishing. Obviously, he's a fly fisher, he's a fisherman. And definitely the biggest one, and we always joke with him about that one, like, what's Wesley's thoughts? Fishing. He fishes all the time. He's very studious, amazing at school, very smart, sings amazingly. Always able to make me laugh, that's always a plus. Again, back to the super sweet, super funny.
But it's kinda cute. Oh, when you smile at me, you know exactly what you do. Baby, don't pretend that you don't know it's true, 'cause you can see it when I look at you. And in this crazy life, and through these crazy times, it's you, you make me sing. Your every line, your every word, your everything.
Christ-like quality I would choose to describe Summer would be charity, because she's always thinking of others and always putting them before herself.
I think of teaching, the way Christ teaches and how he treated people and how he taught through example. That definitely the one that I put Wesley as. I love Wesley. I absolutely love him with all my heart, and there's not a better person that I could ever find for me, and just, I love him.
I want everybody to know how madly in love I am with Summer.
When we're born into this world, we don't really get a say. Little boys and little girls handed the brand new families. There comes a time in life when we finally get to choose, and I choose you. I choose you. I choose you. I'm about to get right. I choose you. I choose you. I choose you. I choose you. Walk in the footsteps, build our own family, one day at a time. 10 little toes, a painted pink room. Our beautiful baby looks just like you, and we'll build this love from the ground up. Now till forever, it's all of me, all of you. Just take my hand, and I'll be the man your dad hoped that I'd be, and we'll build this love from the ground up, for worse or for better. And I will be all you need. Beside you I'll stand, through the good and the bad. We'll give all that we have, and we'll build this love
outside. The clouds are gonna roll, the earth's gonna shake, but I'll be a shelter through the wind and the rain. And we'll build this love from the ground up, now till forever. It's all of me, all of you. Just take my hand, and I'll be the man your dad hoped that I'd be. And we'll build this love from the ground up, for worse or for better. And I will be all you need. Beside you I'll stand, through the good and the bad. We'll give all that we have, and we'll build this love from the ground up. Someday we'll wake up with thousands of pictures of 65 years in this little house. I won't trade for nothing the life that we built. I'll kiss you goodnight and say I love you still. And we'll build it